Hi friends, Danielle here from White Stitch Co, where I talk about everything knitting and crochet. And today's knitting pattern for you guys that I'll be going through in this tutorial is going to be the Hearts on Fire beanie, which is a pattern I designed recently. I thought it was relevant given the time. So it is a red beanie with you'll see a duplicate stitch embroidered heart on the front. And we have a 1x1 ribbing for comfort, and the rest of the beanie is just a moss stitch. So, and I will provide also some modification options to change the length and the height. And if you did want to change the heart, you could do different colors, or you could do a different motif entirely. This section is just a stockinette section, so it is a 9x9, 9 stitch, 9 column section. So you could embroider or duplicate stitch whatever you'd like on the front. And so this is just how it fits on me. And yeah, I'll put a link in the description for all of the materials. And I also do have a PDF you want to support. You could go ahead and check that out as well on my Etsy Ravelry. So let's go ahead and get into the materials and then knit the pattern. So for materials we have laid out here, we'll start with the yarn. So I am using Lion Brand Hometown yarn, which is a super bulky weight number 6. The recommended needle size for this is a US 13 or a 9mm. I'm actually using a different size, but we'll get into that in a second. This is 100% acrylic yarn, and I do like this yarn because it's widely available and is machine wash and dryable. And this is the color Houston Cream, so this is a nice off-white color. For the main body of the hat, which will be the majority of the yarn that we'll use, I am using, again, Lion Brand Hometown, and this one is in the color Tampa Spice. They do have another red, which is more of a true red. This is more like a ruby red. And the other red that they have is called Cincinnati Red, if you want to check that out as well. So they do have 2 red options. I do like this one. I feel like it's a classy ruby red. I do hope it's showing up correctly on the screen here. It looks pretty accurate to me. But you can also check the website. Again, I'll have links in the description. So as I mentioned, they recommend a US 13 or 9mm, but I actually prefer to knit this on a US 11 or an 8mm. So this is the 16-inch circular needle. It is a clover knitting needle, and this is what I'll be knitting it on. You will also need DPNs, so double pointed needles. I have a set of 4, which is a US 10 6mm set. You'll want these a little bit smaller, if not the same size as your main 16-inch. And then of course you'll need some basics like some scissors. These are my favorite, Fisker scissors or thread snips. You'll also need a needle. I prefer to use a bent tip darning needle. And we will also need stitch markers. You will need at least 1 to mark the beginning of round, and you can also have an additional 2 if you prefer to have, so that would be 3 total, to mark out the stockinette section for your duplicate stitch. And yeah, beyond that, just a nice beverage, so I have a coffee here. And let's go ahead and get into the pattern. I will also mention before we start the gauge that is on this yarn label for this particular yarn is 9 stitches by 12 rows to get a 4x4 inch. The gauge that I make with my needles that I've selected for this project, just in case you want to meet gauge, you're holding yarn together using a different super bulky yarn. I hit a 2x2 inch using 5 stitches across, 8 rows tall, on the US 11 in stockinette unblocked in the round. So that's just a quick note on gauge. And we'll go ahead and clear this off and get ready for the pattern. So we'll be starting using the red yarn, and that is the majority of the hat, as you see. And we'll be casting on 50 stitches. Now, again, if you're modifying, I'd recommend modifying by stitch counts of 4, because you'll see the ribbing is 1x1, so that's 2 stitch repeats, and then the moss stitch is also 2 stitch repeats. I recommend 4 just to make it easier for the decreases. So I'm casting on 51, and I will join to make 50 stitches for my hat. I've also done, you could do 55 to hit 40 as we start knitting the brim, and it is knit from bottom up. So we'll start at the ribbing, move into the moss stitch, and complete for the crown. So I will be casting on 50. And please excuse me if I sound a little bit stuffy. I am sick, so I might take some nose blowing breaks as we're doing this, but I did want to get this out for you guys, so we'll go ahead and start. And if you see some clips, that's just because I'm blowing my nose off screen. So we have our red yarn. Again, I am using the Tampa Spice color, and I prefer to do a long tail cast on, so I'll be casting on 51. And approximately maybe this much yarn. The long tail cast on does take some practice to kind of get familiar with how much yarn you need. This may be an overestimate, but it's better to over than underestimate in my opinion. You can also do whatever cast on you prefer to do, such as a knitted cast on as well. So I have made my knot here, and I'm going to slip my needle through. I've got the tail on the bottom and then the active live yarn on the top here. And I'm going to do my long tail cast on. So I've got one stitch, this is the second stitch. See, it's stuck on stuff. The third stitch. So you'll see I go through this way, around, and grab the yarn, pull it through. Stitch number 4. I'll do a couple of these slowly for you to see my method for the long tail cast on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do 3 more slowly. Eight, 9, and 10. And feel free to speed up, slow down the YouTube video, or jump around to keep up with the pattern with your preferred pace. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. We need to get to 51 and we'll join to get 50. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. And my tail is a bit long, but that's okay. Like I said, it's not terribly long. So now we will join, making sure not to twist any of our stitches as we're moving it along the needle. And I will be taking this first stitch on the right needle, passing the left over, and then moving back over. That's how I like to join. And we will place our beginning round stitch marker. So we will be starting with the 1x1 ribbing, and I've just put my yarn tail through the middle so it stays out of the way a little bit better. And again, this is the first opportunity to customize. So again, if you've cast on a different amount, make sure in repeats of 4 stitches, because this rib section is a 1x1 rib. And we will be doing the 1x1 rib for 8 rows. So the second opportunity is to customize how many rows you do of the rib section. And so you can see here, this is what it looks like, and I'll put a photo again of what it looks like on me if you want to reference that for how long yours might be. But I will do the 8 rows that I specify in the pattern as the default. So the 1x1 rib is a knit and a purl together in sequence. So we're going to just do a knit and a purl and repeat that all the way around. So again, we have our knit and our purl. And we'll be doing that for 8 rows. So feel free to do that on your own. I will do this first row with you, and then I'll hop off screen and do a little jump cut to get to the 8 rows, and we can meet up together at the end. Make sure you are keeping your beginning of round stitch marker in place, so make sure to slip it as you get to it. And you should end with a purl, and the first will be a knit as you start each row. Sorry, there's a hair there. So you'll see what I mean as I get to the end of this row. The nice thing about super bulky yarn is this hat does work up really quickly, so you can make a bunch of them for yourself or friends. And like I said, I did find this yarn, the Line Brand Hometown, really nice to work with in terms of the feel on the head, and the availability is good. The color selection options are great, and the machine wash is awesome. So that is why this is one of my favorite hat yarns when I go for a super bulky hat knit. Another material or tool that I forgot to mention, you do have the option to use a row counter if you desire. Otherwise, it's not strictly necessary if you prefer to just count as you go. Okay, so we've got the last 4 stitches here. We're going to do a knit, a purl, and another knit, and another purl, and a slip-on marker here. So you'll see the next stitch that we will knit in the first round is a knit, and we will be stacking another knit on top of that, and the stitch after that is a purl. So we will be repeating this again for 8 rows, and I will meet you at the end of that. Okay, so I've just finished the 8 rows of the 1x1 ribbing. You can see here for the brim. And again, if you are modifying length, you can modify the number of rows you do for this rib section. However, you will notice that will change how the heart sits on the front of your head. So if you are modifying to increase length, I would actually recommend modifying the moss stitch section instead, so that the heart still sits towards the front of your forehead area. But that's just a preference thing. If you want to do the rib section, you can. So now we'll get into the moss stitch section. So again, one of the other options here for customization is you could just do this hat entirely in the moss stitch. So excluding the heart and the duplicate stitch section entirely, it would look, well, minus those bits, it would look just like this, just the plain moss stitch hat. And this is a beautiful hat. It does not quite go with the name and the intention of this hat, which is the Hearts on Fire. So Hearts on Fire, of course, meaning that there would be a heart on it. But again, if you wanted to modify and do just a full moss stitch beanie, that is absolutely an option. And you would, instead of doing the stockinette section that I'll specify, you would just do moss stitch for the entire section, obviously until you get to the crown decrease. So I just want to call that out. I will only be going over the duplicate stitch portion in the moss stitch, so I will not be demonstrating the full moss stitch option, but I do include an option for that, and I'll put the instructions on screen. Again, you can customize the links for that as well. So for the moss stitch and stockinette section, to do the duplicate stitch later, you can see again I'm at the beginning of round, so we will have around 16 rows for this main body area. Again, I will specify where you can extend that if you want to. So I do also have the 2 additional stitch markers here. I will section off the stockinette section just to make it easier for you guys to see a little bit as I'm working here. So the first round of this stockinette option plus moss stitch, we will be doing a little bit of moss stitch to get to around here or so, so opposite side of the cast on, where the tail is here, just because I don't like to have that tail in the front personally. And then we'll do the stockinette, and we will be increasing 1 stitch to make it a nice number to get that heart shape. So we will be doing a moss stitch, so we're going to do a purl 1, knit 1 5 times. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, that's 2, purl 1, knit 1 3, purl 1, knit 1 4, purl 1, knit 1 5, and I'm doing opposite, you can see, of the respective column so that it stands out more when we start the stockinette, or when we start the moss stitch rather here. So now we're going to place a marker, optionally, to mark out our stockinette section, and we're going to knit 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to do the right lifted increase to add a stitch for the heart, because we are working in sets of 2 and 4, and the heart needs a odd number to get this nice point here. So we're going to add one just for this stockinette area. So we're going to do a right lifted increase. We have the left active stitch here. We're going to pull up, stitch below it. So you see I'm going into just the front loop of that stitch and pulling it over top of the needle. So now this one column, this one stitch became 2 stitches. I'm going to knit into that lifted stitch and place the marker. And then we're going to continue with our moss stitch pattern. So now in this section with the stockinette, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches like we wanted. And we're going to continue with the purl 1, knit 1 for 16 more repeats to get to the beginning of round. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. And again, if you cast on more or less, you will be modifying the count of these purl 1, knit 1 repeats. Making sure you're not splitting your yarn. This yarn is a little bit splitty because it is so bulky. We're almost at the beginning of round again. And again, we're just working a purl where we see a knit, and a knit where we see a purl, reversing the, reversing the ribbing rows so the moss stitch is evident. So we end, as you can see, on a knit. Back to beginning of round. So that was row 1 of the pattern. Row 2 will be the second portion of that moss stitch, so repeating again the purl 1, knit 1, and then the same stockinette section. So we start with the 5 repeats of purl 1, knit 1, 2, purl 1, knit 1, 3, purl 1, knit 1, 4, and purl 1, knit 1, 5. Slip your marker if you have one on there. That marks your stockinette section. And knit 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Slip your marker again if you have one to mark off those sections. And continue on with your purl 1, knit 1 to the end of the row. So for this row, we are duplicating what we had in the previous row to get that moss stitch effect. And you won't quite see the moss stitch yet if you're not familiar with moss stitch. We need 4 rows to execute this pattern. And it'll probably be more clear after 8 rows, so 2 repeats of the moss stitch design, to be honest. Alright, we are nearing the end of the second row, and you should continue to have 51 stitches or your modified cast on quantity plus the 1 lifted one that we did for this main section. So we will not be changing the stitch count of this main section until we get to the crown decrease. So just a quick note on stitch counts, I won't be mentioning that too much because it's not changing. So the next 2 rows, rows 3 and 4, will be a reversal again. So we're going to do a knit 1, purl 1, part of the moss stitch, and then the stockinette, and then continue the knit 1, purl 1 to the end. So we're going to do a knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, purl 3, knit 1, purl 4, knit 1, purl 5, knit 9 for the stockinette section, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Slip your marker and continue with your knit 1, purl 1 to the end. 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, purl 3, and again, if you are following the pattern as I defined, which is you have 51 stitches in this row, you will end up doing 16 repeats of this at the end portion here. So this is the third row of the pattern, main section, and also the third row of this moss stitch section as well. And we end on a purl 1. So again, row 4 is the same exact thing all over again. Since these are just 2 row repeats, I will do them with you here. But again, feel free to use the YouTube speed controls or jump around if you want to meet me at a particular section. I'll make sure to have chapters for you here. So we just did the 5 repeats of the knit 1, purl 1. We're going to do the 9 knit stockinette. Again, this will be where we do the duplicate stitch afterwards, which I will demonstrate for you guys. And then continue on with your knit 1, purl 1. So knit your knits and purl your purls as you come across them for this section here. All right, and we end on a purl. The next 2 rows, rows 5 and 6, will be the reversal. So again, we're starting the moss stitch over again. So you can see here, the moss stitch started with, here we started with 2 purls, we did 2 knits. Now we're going to switch back to 2 purls and continue on in that design. And here you can see the stockinette sections forming out a little bit nicely here. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little bit dark on my screen. I will try to edit if I need to afterwards. So we are on rows 5 and 6. Again, keeping the same number of stitch counts. We are not increasing, decreasing. We are switching the moss stitch section to start it over again. So purl 1, knit 1 for 5 times. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and final purl 1, knit 1. Do your stockinette section, knit 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, marker, and continue with the purl 1, knit 1 to the end. Now, since row 6 is the same, again, there are no changes. We will just be doing the same exact thing as we just did for this row. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. If you are using your optional row counter, make sure to increment it. An alternative use, you could use it to count the number of repeats you're doing if you want to do so. Okay, so that was row 5. Row 6 is the same thing, so we're going to do purl 1, knit 1, 5 times. And you can see the moss stitch is starting to come through nicely. And stockinette section, knit 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And finish to the end with your purl 1, knit 1. And the final stitch is a knit stitch. Okay, rows 7 and 8 will be knit 1, purl 1. So again, reversing, we are doing the same thing as we did actually in rows 3 and 4. So continuing the moss stitch, we're going to do knit 1, purl 1 5 times. Do your 9 knit stockinette section. And continue on with your knit 1, purl 1 to the end. So you're going to knit the purls and purl the knits. Since rows 7 and 8 are the same, I'll actually jump ahead to meet you at row 9. Okay, so that was row 8 just completed. You can see our stockinette is nearly done. We have one more row, which is row 9, and then we will be transitioning out of the stockinette section into straight up moss stitch for the entire rest of the main section of the hat. So we will be doing row 9 is the same as the previous rows, 5 and 6, where we did the purl 1, knit 1. So again, we are changing to purl 1, knit 1 for the moss stitch section. So still doing the 5 times, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, and knit 1. Do your 9 stockinette. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that is the last time we will be doing that stockinette section before we change to moss stitch and continue with the purl 1, knit 1 to the end of the row. And the final purl 1, knit 1. Okay, we have just completed row 9, so now we are going to work the stockinette as moss stitch. So we will be doing the moss stitch still. In the first part we will be doing 5 purl 1 knit 1 to get to that section. And you can remove your stitch markers if you had added them. This first one, that would have been the stockinette, we're going to do a purl 1 and a knit 2 together because we want to decrease that lifted increase we did. And since it's one stitch, it doesn't really matter if we do it on the right or the left anyways, so. So that was a purl 1, knit 2 together, and then continue to the end doing purl 1, knit 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Remove your stitch marker again, if you had one there. And we are out of the stockinette section now. You should still have the moss stitch area where you're purling the pearls and knitting the knits for this second row of that moss stitch area. Purl, knit, purl, and ending on a knit. That was row 10. Rows 11 and 12, so the rest of this will just be moss stitch as normal. So we switch again to a knit 1, purl 1 to the end for 11 and 12, and I'll meet you at the end of row 12. So that was rows 11 and 12 done. You can see we have a knit column here and the purl column afterwards. And we've got 50 stitches again ever since we did that knit 2 together decrease. I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you as well the gauge section. So I actually just did the gauge off of the stockinette. So I've got a clear ruler here. And in terms of a 2-inch, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches across actually here. And let's see if I can get a row, or column rather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish for a 2-inch. 7 rows for a 2-inch. So that is roughly how you can do a gauge swatch easily as part of this hat if you happen to have that stockinette section for the duplicate stitch. So now we are at the point we are going to do the moss stitch up until we want to do the decrease. So this is the opportunity you have if you want to do a longer hat. This is one of the sections I'd recommend repeating. So rows 13 and 14 will be your purl 1, knit 1, and rows 15, 16 will be the knit 1, purl 1. And you can repeat those 4 rows for as long as you'd like, within reason for a hat, of course. And that's how I'd recommend you get additional length so that you still keep the motif towards the front of the forehead area. If you were to have done a smaller hat, if you want less length, I would have recommended you do less of the ribbed rows here, and you could totally cut out rows 13 through 16 altogether if you wanted to have a very small hat. And again, I'd have recommended you do a shorter width as well if you're doing it that way. So rows 13 and 14, as I said, will be purl 1, knit 1, and rows 15 and 16 will be a knit 1, purl 1. So I'll do row 13 together with you. So it's basically just what we've been doing, of course, with the moss stitch. So 13, purl 1, knit 1, and just repeat. Purl 1, knit 1. So you'll see we are purling the knit and knitting the purl as it presents itself to us. And we'll just do this across to the end for row 13 and 14. And you will also notice, because we've got 50 stitches total for this pattern, unless you modify it, of course, you will be doing 25 repeats of those 2 stitches total. Oops, my yarn got stuck on my chair here. Sorry about that, my rolling chair decided to eat my yarn there. Okay, so yeah, we were doing purl 1, knit 1, repeat. And that was row 13, and row 14 will be the exact same thing, purl 1, knit 1, repeat. By the way, if I get any questions about the stitch marker, it's unfortunately from a Etsy shop that's since closed, but if you're curious, I do prefer this leverback style as opposed to the lobster clasp. I just find them easier to work with for my knitting and crochet. So I think it's just like it's a very nicely done clay stitch marker, but unfortunately they are no longer selling, so. Oops. So that was row 14. And rows 15 and 16 again will be the opposite. So we will knit the purls, purl the knits. We're going to do a knit 1, purl 1 repeat for both of those 2 rows. And you'll see we have some beautiful moss stitch texture coming in already on our hat here. And since this is just the moss stitch again, I don't want to bore you too much, I will meet you at the end of row 16. Alright, so here I have done row 16 as well, and I took the opportunity to refresh my coffee, I hope that's okay. So I will go ahead and measure this for you guys so you have an idea with my gauge how long this is before we start the decrease, because the next step is to do the decrease for the crown. So right now it is approximately like just under 7 inches in height. And for comparison, here is it side by side with the completed beanie. So you'll see we are about to do this crown decrease section here. So again, this is your opportunity if you wanted to add length to repeat rows 13 through 16, those 4 rows. Again, probably 1 time, maybe 2 if it's a really long head, but probably just 1 repeat, I would imagine. Okay, so we will go ahead and start the crown decrease section, as I said. So the first 2 rows are actually just finishing off this moss stitch, and then we will start the proper decrease. So rows 1 and 2 are purl 1, knit 1. So we're just going to continue that purl 1, knit 1 around. So we're going to purl the knits and knit the purls for 2 rows. Okay, and we end with a purl 1, knit 1. So that is the first row. The second row is the same, again, like I said, a purl 1, knit 1 around. So this time we are purling the purls and knitting the knits to maintain that moss stitch pattern. Okay, so that was the final of the moss stitch part, moss stitch portion of the decrease section. So rows 3, actually just row 3, we'll just do row by row as we go. So row 3 will be a knit 2 together, purl 1 around, and we'll end with 2 stitches and a knit 2 together. So we will do a knit 2 together, followed by a purl, and repeat that. Knit 2 together, purl, knit 2 together, purl, knit 2 together, purl. So you'll notice as we're going, it will alternate whether it aligns with the previous row of stitches or is a moss stitch style alternate. So for instance, this one, we have a purl and a knit. So we're going to knit 2 together in this one, which visibly extends the knit, and purl the next stitch, which matches the purl. But on this next 2, we have a knit and a purl. We knit these 2 together, which appears to end the knit and start the new moss stitch section, and we purl this section, which ends this knit column. So we're going to have a bit of a alternating style here. if that makes sense. So we're just going to continue around again, knitting 2 together and purling 1. And we're going to end up decreasing a significant number of stitches in this row. So you'll see, as I said, we've got 2 stitches left over after we did our purl, and we will just knit those 2 together. So that is the end of the row. If you had 50 stitches, you have 33 stitches now at the end of row 3. Row 4 will be a purl 1, knit 1 around, and we'll end with 3 stitches left, which will do a purl 1, knit 2 together. So we'll only be doing 1 decrease in that row, and this is to kind of even out the massive amount of decreases we did previously. So we have our knit 2 together from the previous row here. We're going to purl this, and we're going to knit the next one, which was our purl. And again, we're going to purl and knit. And you'll see this kind of evens out where we had the alternating style with the knit 2 together decreases. This ends that knit 2 together column that we had going on. So again, just purl 1, knit 1 around until we come to the last 3 stitches. And you can transfer to DPNs if you'd like. I will be transferring mine after the following row. Okay, so that was the last purl 1, knit 1. You see with 3 stitches left, we're going to purl and then knit 2 together. This does end up extending this long one at the end here, but this will be at the back of the head anyways. If you wanted to, you could purl 2 together to kind of end that. You'd have 2 purls in a row, but yeah, option if you'd like to. Row 5 we'll be doing a purl 1, knit 1 around, and we will have an even number of 32 stitches, so we'll just go around again. Again, this is kind of trying to maintain that moss stitch style that we've established. Just doing the purl 1 and the knit 1 around all the stitches. And we end on a purl 1 and a knit 1. Again, we have this column. You could break it up with a purl if you'd like. Okay, so that is the end of row 5, and at this point I'm going to take off my stitch marker because my next row I will actually be knitting onto DPNs as I do the decrease. So I've got my, again, 4 DPNs, US 10, 6mm, because I like to work them a little bit smaller gauge than the hat was. And row 6, I'll specify as I'm going, as I transfer them onto the DPNs, because how I like to divide them a little bit evenly. I'll transfer them to 3 DPNs. So the first few stitches we will do with our first DPN, a knit 2 together, followed by a purl 4 times. That's 1, knit 2 together, purl 2, knit 2 together, purl 3, and knit 2 together, purl 4. So that gives us 8 stitches on our first DPN. I'm going to pick up my second DPN and do the same thing onto that one, and I'll move my circular, the stitches on the circular to the one end so I can work it more easily. So again, knit 2 together, purl 4 times. That's 1, knit 2 together, purl 2, knit 2 together, purl 3, and knit 2 together, purl 4. So that is 8 stitches on my second DPN, and I'm going to put the rest of these, oops, onto my third DPN. So we'll have 6 stitches left. Yeah, I think 6 stitches as we do this next one. So move these stitches over here, closer to the end, and again, knit 2 together, purl once, knit 2 together, purl twice, and we have this last one, again, the column of knits. I am going to knit 1, purl 1. So if you did not previously break it up, we now have broken up with a purl, and we have 6 stitches. So that gives us a nice number. We have 22 stitches if you have not modified the width of your hat. If you did, just work the knit 2 together, purl, and divide it onto the DPNs as evenly as possible. And as we work these next few rows, we'll shift the stitches around on the DPNs to kind of work it. So row 7, we will do knit 2 together, purl 1 7 times, followed by a knit 1, because we'll have 1 stitch left at the end. So we have our 4th DPN here, and I'm going to do my knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 2 together, and that finishes the first DPN. I will do the purl 1 on this next one. So we are doing the purl here, continuing knit 2 together, purl 1. And if you lose track, you can use your stitch marker to just kind of mark where your first DPN, the beginning of round, is. So purl 1, we do knit 2 together, purl 1. We've got an awkward single stitch left, so I'm going to slide that to the end of its DPN and push it onto my third and final DPN for the end of row. So we did a purl last, we will do a knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 2 together, oops, without splitting the yarn, purl 1, and we have 1 stitch left. I will do a knit on that one. That was row 7. Row 8, we are just going to continue knit 2 together, purl 1 till the end. So knit 2 together, purl 1, knit 2 together, next DPN, purl 1, knit 2 together, purl 1. We again have 1 stitch left that I'll slide to the end of its needle and place onto our last DPN here. knit 2 together, purl 1, and knit 2 together, purl 1. So here is what we have divided amongst the needles. We've got 3 stitches on the first, 3 stitches on the second, and 4 stitches on the last, for a total of 10 stitches left. Again, if you worked a modified width, just continue until you have around 10 or so stitches left total on your DPNs, at which point we'll take our scissors and cut with a long tail, thread onto our needle, and do your favorite bind off finishing method. So I'll demonstrate mine here. Again, there are different ways you can do this. I will thread through these 3 stitches here and remove that DPN, pull tightly. And I like to divide it evenly and knot it. So to demonstrate what I mean, so I did 3 stitches here, bind off. I'll thread through these next 2 and pull tightly as well. And then as I thread through these next 5, I'm going to leave some loose tail in the center so that I will knot it together with the end later on. So I am not going to pull tightly. You'll see I have some tail here at the end still. And I'm going to thread through these final 4 stitches. And keeping this part in the center, I'm going to pull tightly to close the hole. So I have the loop from the center and the end tail on the other side. I like to knot them. And again, different ways of finishing. If you like to do a different way. And then what I like to do is thread onto the needle and pull through the center so I can weave in the ends on the other side. So I'm going to thread this end there, and I'm going to thread this guy onto the needle here and through this side. So on the top, our ends are going to be inside, and we also have this bottom starting cast on, which I'll actually trim a little bit, I think, just a little bit because mine was a bit long. Okay, so now at this point, I'll turn the hat inside out, and we'll continue finishing off the ends, and then we can do the duplicate stitch on the front. So again, we have the looped portion here. What I like to do is cut this in half and weave one of these towards the other end that we brought in, knot it together, and then finish those off just to provide a little bit extra security. So I'm going to thread this on and weave it through the hat in different directions. Sorry, that just popped off my needle, a little bit short. Weave it up and take this other end, weave it to meet that first one. After, I like to do some weaving here to kind of secure them first individually. And now I'll bring it up to meet that first one that I brought over. I will knot them. So now the top is very secure. And just continue to weave in the ends as normal now on the top here. So just changing direction and making sure it's okay to split the yarn a little bit too, if you'd like to provide some extra security. And again, different opinions, different techniques on how you can weave in your ends here. If you want to use a straight needle, you can feel free to do so as well. Okay, so that is one end, and I'll cut it, leaving about an inch or so, just in case as you stretch the hat, it doesn't pop out. That's just a personal preference thing. And just weave in these other two ends as well. I'll weave that one down a little bit. And because we knotted it, we are very confident these shouldn't come undone. And you'll notice the technique I'm going through these knit columns to kind of weave it in a, not a circular column, helix, I guess, something like that, around the same knit, and make sure to stretch it so that it's not going to come out. That's the technique I like to use at the brim too. So I'll cut these guys. Those are the top tails finished off, and so we just have this bottom one here from the cast on. And I'm going to use that same circular technique as I clear off this section a little bit so you can see. So we have the tail coming out here. I'm going to bring it over to the nearest column of knits on the wrong side and pull it up through the bottom on the left. And then sort of just weave it around. And bring it up like that. And this might be easier for you if you use a straight rather than a bent tip needle, if you're having some difficulty getting it through. And then I like to bring it down and around back down the other side. And because I don't like to finish with the tail at the end of the beanie here, I'm going to repeat that again just on one portion of this one here, so that it ends up towards the moss stitch section and not down at your face or the back of the head. So it's kind of out of the way a bit more. All right. Stretch it out a little bit, and that is our tails weaved in. Cut that with a little bit of yarn to spare, and we can turn this inside out again. So here's our hat, and if you chose not to do the stockinette section for the duplicate stitch, you would not have this section here, and you would be done with your hat at this point. It'd be all finished off and ready to go. I'll show you the decrease towards the crown. We have some of the columns, as I mentioned, but it's mostly consistent with the moss stitch style as well, so it should not be very obvious, the finishing. And again, we've got the 1x1 ribbing on the bottom and the moss stitch section in the middle. So all that's left to do now is to do the duplicate stitch in this section here, the stockinette section of our heart. So let me go ahead and grab our contrast yarn, and I will demonstrate in a single color, and again I'll demonstrate the heart. So if you're doing a different motif or different colors, I would recommend you follow other tutorials for that motif or for using multiple colors with the duplicate stitch. I will demonstrate again in the cream color that I mentioned, so let me go ahead and grab that now. So we are all done with our knitting needles and our stitch markers. You can put those off to the side. We will only be working with our scissors and our darning needle, and the hat and the contrasting yarn, of course. So go ahead and take the contrasting yarn and cut like a nice solid length of it. I like to do my wingspan, maybe like 4 feet or so, and cut it something that's manageable, not too long, not too short, and thread it onto your needle here. For reference, this is about how much I'm working with right now. So I will go ahead and pop the chart on the screen for you to check out. So you'll see we need to start in the middle. That's where I prefer to start anyways. So we have 9 stitches, 9 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We will find the 5th column in and 1 stitch up from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 stitch up will be around here. And I'm going to pop out in the middle of your knit V. Pull your yarn through, oops, but keep a tail maybe around that much so you can sew it later. And I'm going to move my coffee out of the way so I don't drop my yarn straight into it. So, a quick disclaimer, I am no expert on duplicate stitch. There are many masters of duplicate stitch techniques that I will link below if you want to check out some other videos, but I just want to demonstrate for this video how I do it, and you can follow along better tutorials. So, we have the bottom of this V here, and you see that it connects through this next stitch. There, it goes through because interlocking knit stitches. So we're going to bring our yarn through this way, pull it through, and you'll see we're going to land this on top of the leg here. We have the other leg here, and I'm going to go back into the same place I came out of and pop out where the next V starts. Pull our yarn down and tighten it ever so gently over top. So the key for this is to not tighten too tightly and use yarn that's the same or larger than your original yarn that you used to knit. So I'm going to continue following the chart, and I like to work in columns personally, so I'm going to go the next stitch up that way and then back down and through to the next V here. Pull it, and there's the next stitch. So this column has 5, so I'll go up and continue again. Pop out the next one. And kind of check as you go that they're looking relatively even. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have one more. I'll do here. And then I'll go through, but instead of popping out where the next V was, I'm going to pop out in the next column to the left is where I think I'll work. So we're working this row here. So I'll pop over to this stitch, one above, for the next column because it is taller. And I'll work down instead of up. So I've popped out here and I'll work this stitch. Yeah, here we go, there. And then instead of popping, I'll go down where the next V is. And kind of shove it in the right way. And then go through underneath where we were before. Again, I would recommend following some other duplicate stitch tutorials for this portion just because, like I said, I'm not... this is a technique that's newer to me. I've been knitting and crocheting for a long time, but the duplicate stitch, and I've done embroidery too, but it's a totally different technique. So I'm sure you'll find many other tips to make it neater than what I'll end up with here. So this column is also 5, but is offset 1 higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the 4th one, and I'll do 1 lower again here and finish off this one. And I'm going to pop out in the next column, which shifts it up another row. So we are currently at this row here, and I'm going to shift it up to here. So go in, pop out there, just shift it up again. And I'm going to work upwards now again, kind of changing direction. And slowly but surely, we will start to get our heart shape coming in. on this left side here. This one is also 5 stitches tall for the duplicate stitch portion. So that's 3. 4, and one more, 5. And I'm going to pop out one lower, so I'm going to pop out at this one here to finish off this left side of the heart and work downwards again. So again, pop in the same stitch there, go down one. Try to spread it out a little bit. And the final one here. And I'm just going to push it all the way through. And gently tighten that. So this is the left side of the heart you see. And if you flip it on the other side, we have the tails. So I'm going to weave this last tail towards my starting point, keeping it on the wrong side of the work here, and making sure not to pull too tightly. I'm going to bring this other tail towards it and then knot them and weave in the ends. This end got a little bit short, so I'll just do one final pull through here and cut the tails. So again, that was the left side. Now we have to repeat for the right side. So go ahead, grab another length of your yarn. Mine was pretty good, so I'm going to keep it about the same again. And thread it onto your needle. And this is kind of around what I have for my length of yarn, if you want to compare. And I like to start kind of where we were before, again down towards the middle, but this was the center column, so we're going to match the mirror of this side here. So I'm going to start in this one here. So I'm going to bring it out from the back right there and pull through until I have some tail left, like so. And start the first stitch going through to match the knit stitch leg on that side, back down into the same hole and up to the next one there. It's one stitch, second stitch, and just continue like that till you get to the 5 columns. 5 rows in the column rather. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one up here will be 5. And instead of going up to the next one, I will go over and up so that we match this third one out, which is the tallest peak on the right side. So I will be popping out of here. Sometimes it helps to turn the work a little bit. Okay, now we do this column and work downwards. So we go back in the same spot and go down to the next one. And go through the legs. That one. Bring it down. Again, my technique isn't the best, so you see some of them aren't the most even. Oops. So I can probably get a better result, like this one here is kind of peeking out a little bit. Sometimes it's easier working up instead of down for me too, for some reason. Maybe if I were smart, I'd stick to one direction. Okay, so that is the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll do this last one here and then pop up 1 stitch up, 1 row up on the next column, the final one here. And we're almost done, we just have these last 3 to go. So pop up here. Down into the same hole. Out the next one. And the final one will go here. And we will pop to the wrong side of the work. Oh, this tail was very long. Okay, so that is the final stitch there, you see, and we just have to finish in our end now. So I'll turn this inside out. And I will definitely cut this a little bit to work with on mine. And again, do the same thing. I'll thread them towards each other, knot them, and then weave in the ends. That's just how I prefer to do it again. There are different ways you could finish this in, I'm sure, but I like the security of knowing they're knotted. So staying on the wrong side of the work, I'll just weave them towards each other and knot them. Double checking I'm not pulling too tightly. Still looks good to me. Knot it and weave in the ends. Bring this out here. There you go. And this last one is so short, it doesn't really matter too much, but I'll bring him over this way and then back through. And now we'll just trim and make sure as we stretch the hat, everything looks good, and flip it inside out to the right side. And here we go. That is your hat completed with the duplicate stitch heart in the front of it. Hopefully yours turns out better than mine, or at least the same. I guess it's not too terrible, right? Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial for this duplicate stitch Hearts on Fire moss stitch hat with the 1x1 brim. And again, I will have a PDF on my Etsy and my Ravelry if you want to check that out, if you want a printable version instead of a video. And I hope you enjoyed this video anyways. Please consider liking and subscribing. I do knit and crochet tutorials, blogs, patterns, all that good stuff, and I'd love for you to stick around for my next videos. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe and warm.